My next guest is the newest member of the UFC roster, getting that win at Fury FC 53. He only needed 2 rounds to do it. It's Trey Ogden back here on the program. Trey, how's it going, man?
Good, brother. Good being here.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you, man. I was telling you off air, there's a handful of fighters I've interviewed over the years, and no one I think has deserved to get this shot more than you. Saying it there, UFC fighter. Has that sunk in yet, man? How you feeling?
It's sinking in, brother. I'm elated. I feel great.
Yeah, no, I bet. Just, take me through that performance. Were you expecting the fight to end that way? Like, obviously, we know you got a great ground game, but to go out there and get it done in round 2, pretty impressive, man.
Yeah, all of my pre-fight interviews, I said that I was gonna beat him up, take him down, break his face, and choke him to sleep, and do it in under 10 minutes. And it went according to plan, flawlessly.
It did. Did you buy a lottery ticket after? If your predictions are so good.
No, bro, it wasn't luck. It wasn't luck, dog.
No, for sure. Yeah. No, just you can see the future.
Yeah.
Mystic Trey, I guess we could call you here. It's all good. Did you know here's one thing, honestly, like, did you know you had the contract? You never know with the, when it comes to looking for a fight, like what were you thinking after that fight ended?
Well, like going into the event, winning, we thought that if I could finish the kid, that it would be a good chance. But after the performance, there's a moment in the performance where I was like realizing that, hey, this is going like really exceptionally well. And then when I choked him to sleep and he didn't tap, and I looked down and saw him, and then I ran to Dana White and I saw Dana White was like happy as shit. And I didn't know what more I could do. And I stole the show, bro. I aced the fight. And so I knew I had done my part, and I knew it was looking good, but you don't know until Dana tells you.
Exactly. Was there anything about your opponent that surprised you in the fight at all, or was it pretty much what you expected?
It was pretty much what I expected. I thought the striking would be a little harder. I thought there would be in a little bit more of a scrap on the feet, but he did what I expected him to do, and
it all worked out. What's going through your head when you find out you got the contract? I'm sure years of just putting in the time, putting in the work, man. Like, we've been doing interviews for years, and it's like you were, like I said, one of the guys that I knew would get there. So what's going through your head when you hear that?
Just deep fulfillment. When you get on a path, a goal that took me a decade to accomplish with so much adversity and highs and lows like MMA, and I was just deeply fulfilled that I followed through with what I said I was going to do and got it done. And now I'm just completely re-energized and never been more motivated now that I'm in the UFC and I'm ready to get these fights rolling. I'm ready to get in there and get to work. We're far from done.
And I know, like you said there, you're looking ahead, not behind, but was there ever a point you thought this might not happen? I think most people who know you and know your skill set knew that it was only a matter of time, but did you ever have any doubts there?
Man, I was getting frustrated. Yeah. Especially the last year and a half, I had to pull out of 2 fights for the first time in my career, back to back. Mystery injuries, didn't know how they happened, couldn't pinpoint exactly when they happened. And they took me out of 2 fights. And, I was 32 on the day of the fight. And, I didn't feel like giving up in my heart, but I didn't know if I would ever actually get a single opportunity, because I'd been passed up on Contender Series like 4 years in a row. I've been passed up on about like 6 short notice fights. And I just thought, man, what a tragedy that I put all this work in and I'm not even going to get one shot to show it. And so honestly, I went into Sunday night at complete peace. If just knowing that I had one chance to really make my case, and that Dana White was going to see me fight. And it was kind of like I knew I was going to do my part, and I was at peace with his decision, just knowing that I did get the opportunity, and I felt great to get the opportunity.
How did you celebrate that night? I got to know that. I know you're probably not going crazy. You're like me, in your 30s, so I'm sure you're not getting too wild. But what did you do after that fight? Because that's a huge moment in your life.
Well, the fight was in Denver, but I had at least 40 people go from Kansas City.
Nice.
So we had to hang out, and they kicked us out of the venue. So we went to a pizza place that luckily closed at 10 p.m.
Perfect.
So I had about 3 beers and a few pieces of pizza and some good talks. And then the place closed, and we fought a little earlier than normal. Normally I don't get done fighting till like 10, and I'm wrecked the next day. And I was like, you know what? And like, it's 10 p.m. I'm going to go back to the hotel room with Krause, watch the fight, and go to bed and get some sleep, So it was pretty low key, but surrounded by some family and some of my members of my gym, and just like really just taking it in.
What's been the feedback like on social media? Just because, again, those in the know, like us, know how much this meant to you. Like, how has that been, sort of reading all the messages and all the words of encouragement?
It's really cool because, like, when you get an opportunity and you ace it, and then you get something great that happens in your life like this, like getting signed to the UFC, then on top of that, everyone who has commented, it's just an overwhelming, just like you started the interview, an overwhelming sense of deserving, that you put the work in, you really deserve this. Everybody feels genuinely happy for me. And that's just the most satisfying thing in the world, man. I've it's been a lot of ups and downs, but to deserve something, to do what it takes to get it, and then for your community to champion you, and then champion your journey that way, and think that you deserved it and be genuinely happy for you, is a feeling that I really am struggling to find words. Like, I'm being asked this a lot, like even in my daily life, and I just can't quite put it into words yet, man. It's just a great feeling. I feel deeply fulfilled and completely motivated.
And I don't know if you've been asked this or not, but was there anyone that sent you a message that maybe you weren't expecting, that reached out and you're like, hey, I haven't heard from you, or maybe someone you don't know that kind of congratulated you on the contract?
I've had a lot of messages reached out, yeah, but I think it's just been a little bit overwhelming because my social media was like a normal person like 4 days ago, and then I think I had like 400 notifications on my phone by the end of the first night. It's just like, you know what I mean? So I'm just taking it all in, Yeah.
As you should. That's great, man. And obviously, we're not that far removed from the fight, but when are you looking to get in there and make your debut? Do you have an idea yet? What are you sort of thinking here?
February. So I hope that happens. That sounds perfect for me. Let me get through Thanksgiving week, and get good and fat. And then I'm ready to get back in fight camp immediately. I'm ready to go, man. I want to get this going. Any
opponents of mine, or you leave that out to Krause and the rest of the coaches?
They can all get it. I'm a soldier. I'm a frontline soldier in the Glory Army. You tell me who to go fight, when to fight, what weight, and I'm showing up, taking a neck and a check.
How much of an advantage is it as well that you've got 19 fights? Like, there's guys that get signed up Contender Series that have like 5 fights. Like, how much of an advantage is that for you? And looking at who you fought in your career, I mean, you've had a really tough schedule throughout your career.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, man. Like, in my pre-fight interviews, like, people were asking me questions like, how do you plan to deal with JJ Okanovich's experience? I was like, guys are talking about. I got like twice as many fights as him. Like, well, he fought in Bellator. Like, I won a fight in Bellator at welterweight against an 8-2 opponent in like 2016. Like, what are we talking to? So, I have, that's been a part of my frustration, is seeing like a lot of like people who have under 8 fights get contracts on the Contender Series, and watching them pass me up, knowing I've put in a lot more work than them. And so I want to fight all those guys. Let me get all those guys.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And also, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. Guys get signed to the UFC a little bit too early. They go 0-2 and they're out of there, right? So that's one thing I know with you, and you've always told me this, is like, if I get in the UFC, I want to stay there. I don't want to leave. And that's why, getting those reps in on the regional scene, like I said, I'm sure is going to pay dividends for you.
Yeah, man, I think so as well. I feel like, and I was grateful that like, it seemed like a long, like overdue thing, but I do feel like it was the perfect time for me, because the first time Dana White got to see me was the finished, refined version of me. So I'm ready to fight any of these guys. I've been doing this forever. I'm a full-time coach now as well. I train full-time still. I'm in my physical prime, and my game's tight. My game's buttoned up. I'm ready for the front lines of the UFC. So it all worked out perfectly.
And I was sorry to interrupt you there. And you also mentioned, just being at Glory and having that team. Like, how many fighters on your team are in the UFC? Like, Jeff Molina got signed recently, or not that long ago, Grant Dawson. Like, how's that been for you, just being part of this new wave of fighters and now being in the UFC?
Great, man. It's just a testament to all of our work. We're starting to we have 17 fighters in the UFC now, and we're blowing up as a team, as we should. But like, we all knew this 6 years ago. This work was being done 6 years ago, so it just feels so great to see all of us that have been in the room at Glory together consistently, fighting, not quitting. All of us are signed now to the UFC, and big shout out to our coach James Krause. None of us would be here without him, and we all owe him a huge debt of gratitude. He's the man. He got his whole team in the UFC, and I don't know anyone else who has done that. It's amazing.
And one more thing I got to mention, just because we haven't talked since this happened, but how cool has it been seeing Laura Sanko get her opportunities in the commentary booth? Because she's awesome. And again, another person who's long overdue for that, right?
Yep. Another one from Glory. I don't know what it is, man. It's become a cliche. We're building something special, but something special in that room, and it comes from great leadership.
What's the plan for the rest of the week? Like you said, you're going to enjoy Thanksgiving. What, next week or something? I'm Canadian. We have our Thanksgiving the month before. So it's next week, I think, is your Thanksgiving and everything, right? So
birthday. So for the rest of this week, I had to leave. I went to Denver 2 weeks early to adjust to the altitude. I didn't want to take any chances with my performance. I wanted to make sure we had a 5-round title fight at altitude, so I went out early. So I've been gone from my own gym. I have a Glory MMA location that we opened June of 2020.
Yep.
And that my gym is 20 minutes parking lot to parking lot from Krause's gym. And then Zach Cummings' gym is 20 minutes away from us. And so we make a triangle around Kansas City, parking lot to parking lot, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. So I still train at Krause's gym 3 times a week. But I had to get right back to my team. I have about 20 fighters, and 6 of them are fighting Saturday on a local card. So they were in fight week, and I'd been gone for 2 weeks. So it's a martial arts marathon. Shit don't stop just because you win. Like I preach what I practice, or practice what I preach. The expectation is you're back in the gym next week and working. So I'm right back in the gym. As you can see, I'm in the beautiful dojo.
Looks awesome.
And I'm here getting my team ready to go to war this weekend. We're going to go 6-0.
Which card is it? Just out of curiosity, I always like keeping tabs on that. Which event is this?
So this is an Apex card.
Oh yeah, I know Apex. Yeah, the promotion. Yep. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep. The Apex card here at the I think it's at the Kemper Arena, the Hy-Vee Arena now. It used to be Kemper Arena in Kansas City. So looking forward to that. Yep. And then we have a couple guys on the FAC card, which is on UFC Fight Pass, December 10th. I have a kid, Zach Scroggin, undefeated amateur, making his pro debut on that card. And then a couple of my standout amateurs are on the undercard.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up about running the gym, because we haven't, I don't think, talked since you did that. Was that something you always knew you were going to do, or tell me how that came together? I'm actually curious.
Yeah, 100%. I always knew I was going to do that. And then, I lost that fight to Nick Brown in September 2019, and I realized I was going to be at least a year away from the UFC. And, I wasn't making any money, and I was 30 years old and looking at my wife like, man. But so I decided that I was going to open the gym and get signed to the UFC at the same time. And that's when the martial arts marathon was born. I decided I was going to change my life, apply myself 100% of the time, 7 days a week. And since that time, 2 years later, I have a beautiful gym that's thriving. We have a great community here. We have my fight team, I think, is 33-4 since we opened. So monster amateur fight team. And I'm in the UFC. We got it done, man. And so that was part of the plan all along. I said when I was 12 years old, I'm 32. So 20 years ago, I was 12 years old doing martial arts. And this is before I knew about MMA or competing or anything. I was doing traditional martial arts. And I said that I was going to have a dojo for a living. And some people tried to talk me into going to college, and I wasn't interested. And this has been the plan for my life. So I got a question on my Instagram the other day, which are you more excited about, the gym or the UFC? And the answer is they're one mission. This has always been one mission in my mind. It's the martial arts marathon, and I'm here for all of it.
And we're looking forward to the journey, man, whenever that may be. Trey, again, congrats. It's so cool to see this. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. And if you got any sponsors or shout outs, I'll give you the last word.
Absolutely. So Instagram, it's marathon_MMA. On Instagram. That's the only social media platform I mess with. And then shout out to Native Hemp Company, the best CBD, organic CBD and D8 products on the market. If you're in the Kansas City area, go to downtown Lee Summit, see my dude Rich. It's the coolest place, coolest vibe. He'll take good care of you. Ogden MMA, 20% off on that for online sales and in-person sales. And then the Sheath Underwear Company sponsored my last fight. Shout out to them. Shout out to Iridium Management. Shout out to Glory MMA. Shout out to the best coach in the game, James Krause. Let's go.